Welcome to another edition of this wonderful show. This is the Progressive Minds. My name is Alinco, and this evening we're going to be talking to great people in our community who are going to be telling us or giving us updates from the people. This evening's version is dedicated to all Africans in Africa and in the diaspora. So we're encouraging you to join the discussion as we try to update, to try to ourselves fresh of the situations and some of the issues that are going on in East Africa, West Africa, and so forth. So East, West, and Central Africa. We have representatives that will be who are directly from those countries, from those parts of Africa. Two of them live in the diaspora. One is in Congo, Kinshasa, who they are going to be helping to help us understand what is happening in Africa regarding our politics, economics, and even our religion, like a way of life, and how we are coping with issues back home. So we once again welcome you. Stay glued to the Progressive Minds on Facebook and on YouTube. We encourage you to share once you come on so we can together build our community. Remember that this is the platform that we engage you and I in dialogues such as this to make our society a better place. So we are grateful for you, for your audience, and for your attention this evening. Please stay with us and help us make this convo a very successful one. We will take the Captain Mike segment when we come back. Our guests are ready to let us know what's going on. Again, we encourage you to share the feed, and later on in the show, we'll give you the number so you can ring in. Once again, welcome. Good evening. Well, we are back. My guests are here. So we're going to go straight to them. We have Senna. So I'll start with the lady because she's the only one here, and we got to give her all the attention. We're giving her all the attention this evening. But anyway, so Senna Jimo is a very good friend. We've been working on community stuff for some time now. She's not a stranger on the Progressive Mind Show, but Senna Jimo is the Executive Director for Oromo Legacy Leadership and Advocacy Association. She wears a lot of hats. In a minute, I'll let you tell us some of the hats that she wears. Senna Jimo, you're welcome to the show. All right, I think that yes, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. So we're gonna let's unmute ourselves, guests. Next to Senna is Rigobert Ndonda. Rigobert Ndonda is also the CEO of Dio Tech Services SAR in Congo, Kinshasa. Dio is also, Rigobert also wear a couple hats. He's going to tell us in a little bit. Rigobert, if you can hear me, I need you to unmute yourself. Good. You're welcome to the show, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And then the next, last year is John Obin Ipe. He's no stranger to the Progressive Mind Show, soon to be a co-host. My brother from the Cameroonian community who resides in Texas. He is LLB, MPH, also a PhD epidemiology student. You know all the science words. You have to take your time and pronounce them. Ladies and gentlemen, John, you're welcome to the show once again.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
Excellent. So, guys, Senna, I know apart from you being the leader of the Roma community, I'll say here in the diaspora, tell me a little bit about what else you are involved in so our audience can get to know you better.
Yeah, thank you for having me again, Senna. My name is Senna too. So I am the Executive Director for OLA, which stands for Oromo Legacy Leadership and Advocacy Association. Mm-hmm. And I do also work in Oromo community, and I also do a lot of youth activity, a lot of advocacy in Washington, D.C., there's a lot of things that I do. So I don't know which one. So a little bit of everything, basically. Women, advocacy, human rights, and all of that.
Human rights advocacy, women advocacy, all of that. Yes. Thank you so much. John, briefly, who is John?
Well, John Oben, I am an epidemiologist. I'm still in school, almost still working on my PhD. Okay. I am a disease infection specialist, mostly focused on HIV, but very much concerned about the political situation in Africa because all of that affects health. And so
Great. And I need you to get a little closer to your mic so that if you can get a little closer to your camera. There you go. Yeah. No, that's fine. You're good. Just that'd be good. Thank you so much. Looks like we're having a little technical issue with Rigobert in Kinshasa, but Senna, let's start with you. Now, before I continue, though, very, very important. Rigobert, are you still with us?
Yes.
Okay, Rigobert, tell us briefly who you are and what you do in Kinshasa.
Okay, thank you so much, Senna. Pleasure to participate in this wonderful conference, international conference. I'm Mr. Donda Rigobert. I'm a CEO of DO Tech Service. I'm an entrepreneur. I have 5 years of experiences in as an entrepreneur. That's all that I can tell you right now. And I'm sorry about my English. I just trying to do myself to be understandable for everyone who is follow us right now.
Right. You're doing fine with the English. We appreciate your time being here. You know you live in Kinshasa, Congo, which is a Francophone speaking country. Now, for those who don't understand, Africa is mainly Francophone and Anglophone. We have some Portuguese here and there. A little bit of Portuguese, but mainly English speaking and French speaking country. I must say, before I begin the show, I must give the president of the president-elect of Ghana, His Excellency President Nana Akufo-Addo, big congratulations for being for having been re-elected to run the country for the next 4 years. It was a very tough campaign for the past, I would say, a year ago up until now. Even with COVID, the issue of should we go out and campaign and all of that. The country was locked down for some time, just like any other country due to COVID. Ghana had been on lockdown. But in the midst of it, campaign had to go on from both parties. Ghana has two major parties, the NDC, National Democratic Congress, and the NPP, New Patriotic Party, which is headed by the incumbent president, His Excellency President Akufo-Addo. And they fought toe-to-toe in terms of campaigning for the mandate of the people of Ghana. Again, it had been a tough year for both parties, fought very hard, came down to the election day on the 7th of December 2020. People voted, it rained hard. We heard from here, but in the midst of it, people stood in the rain and made sure that their voices were heard. There were little skeptics here and there, as was reported by international media and social media. We all saw, some of us saw it. At the end of the day, we want to thank God that Ghana went through an election process without any major incidences. And so we want to thank God for that. The peace, tranquility of Ghana has been retained. The security has been retained. Democracy is still in progress. Whatever post-conversations that will be had. For now, we thank God that we have a very peaceful elections and a transition and continuation of the President Akufo-Addo's government. And so once again, the Progressive Minds would like to congratulate His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo for being re-elected as the president for Ghana. My goes after you, I salute you, and we are praying that you will rule Ghana and control the economy to the best of your ability and to the best and on the behalf of the people and to the benefit, let me use the word, to the benefit of the Ghanaian people and to the entire world as well. And so we want to thank you for listening to this piece and wanted to get this out of as a Ghanaian. I'm proud to be one, and I'm proud that we had a good elections and we have a president now who's going to lead the country for the next 4 years. Just wanted to get that out of the way. So let's come to Senna. Senna, tell us what the political climate is as we speak in Ethiopia.
So the situation in Ethiopia is actually, for the first time, I've been in the U.S. for over 20 years, and the struggle of the Oromo people, particularly, which I'm fight a lot hard for, and which how we met. It's been an ongoing for generation, for a long time. Ethiopia is a very unique country, as my brothers here from East Africa, from Congo, and that knows that Ethiopia is said to be uncolonized country, but Ethiopia is more like an empire that forced itself on nations and nationality of other people. There are 80 plus ethnic group in Ethiopia, and Oromos are one of the 80 plus, but they make half of the population. And they've been kind of, oppressed and all of that among other Ethiopians. But this time, what's kind of good for me, and it's sad, a lot of people are dying, and millions of people probably displaced right now, especially since the war broke out between TPLF and Abiy, dictator Abiy. Things, have gotten really, really bad. But for me, as an Oromo, as an activist, I'm kind of hopeful, because I feel like for the first time in history, the world is coming to know Ethiopia for what it is, which is an empire system that have imposed her will by few elites, by few nationalists who feel like superior, who feel like they are the chosen people, who feel like they are better than the Black people, who feel these are racist people that have oppressed Ethiopia. For the first time the world is seeing, I feel like this time we'll get it right, and I have no doubt. So it is sad, especially what's happening to our brothers in the Tigray area. There's been ethnic profiling. There's been a removal of all the Tigrayans from a lot of positions, and just pretty much from the airport to housekeeping to all the way to CEOs and government position. There have been a lot of removal of Tigrayan people from position all throughout Ethiopia, especially in Amhara and Oromia region area. They've been removed from power. These are the Tigray people, and a lot of them are, I'm assuming, is innocent. But while the TPLF, the ruling party, was in power for 27 years before they were removed from power, because of what we did, because we pushed the Congress, because the Oromo people and other nations, hand in hand, protested for an end for 3 years nonstop, and change came. The current prime minister, who happened to be an Oromo, who was part of the system for 27 years, who came to the U.S. and apologized, but went back and started killing Oromo people, and has been killing Oromo people for the last 1.5 years, and now it's Tigray people's turn. Unfortunately, but I am hopeful still. Sena, I kind of gave you a little bit of long version of what's going on. It's really what's going on is very sad. CNN, every news media is covering it this time, so that's why I'm hopeful.
That's okay. So thank you for a powerful overview of what the political landscape is looking for the people of Ethiopia. And we'll come back to you for some fine details. But Brother John, maybe you can help us also understand give us an overview of what the political situation is in Cameroon as we speak.
Thank you very much. Not very much has changed. In fact, things are getting worse in Cameroon as the government continue to crack down on people. This time around, nobody's protesting. But again, there is already existence of armed groups that came out because the government wasn't able to manage protesters when it just started with lawyers and teachers. So the government continued to go into the interiors, arresting every young person that is seen in the English-speaking part of Cameroon, called Southern Cameroon, or West Cameroon as it used to be in the 60s. So that is kind of the situation. We continue to spread the words across the world. We're doing writings and contacting, but the whole thing is this. I kind of have an impression that this story has been heard almost everywhere in the world. It has been spoken of in the British Parliament, in the House of Commons. It's been talked about in the German Parliament. It's been talked about by the European Union. It's been discussed also in right here in the U.S. Senate. It's been discussed in Canada Parliament. So I want to believe that the audience is huge. There is a lot of information that has been out there, but the question is the reluctance to intervene. This is a 4-year war. For 4 years, kids have not been able to go to school. For 4 years, people have lived in intimidation. We have over 700 internally displaced persons from the English part of Cameroon. People are still living inside the bushes. We have over 70,000 refugees in Nigeria. People, Cameroon now living in Nigeria as refugees, and they are everywhere. We have Cameroonian refugees in Ghana, in Togo, in Congo, in Ivory Coast, in Gabon, and all of those countries. For some reason, the government continued to give a deaf ear to the request of the people. Instead, they continue to apply political military option in a situation that is supposed to be political.
Wow. I did not know, and you and I have been friends for some time. We talk, but in terms of this number of people living in exile or living as refugees in other neighboring African countries from Cameroon, I had no idea. And so thanks for letting us know that. That is very striking and is worth talking about. So again, thanks for sharing. My brother Rigobert, give us when we come back, we'll probably try to look at the political structure of Cameroon and maybe Ethiopia too. Maybe Senna can help us. But Rigobert, tell us what the situation is when it comes the political situation in Congo as we speak.
Okay, thank you so much. In Congo, I can say something like we are in the revolution times, because the Congolese peoples right now they have a privilege that's to see in another way to continue in the politics. What now? But before I continue, I have just a little story that I can share with you. Before European colonists arrived in Africa, Africa was divided into several thousand kingdoms, and chief stances was systems of government had evolved over century, and these society included informal judicial systems, and which filled the role of preventing and responding to crime. By the time the Europeans left, they had squeezed all of the form societies into a few dozen nation states whose border slip apart some tribes and force others to live together, regardless of inter-tribal dynamics. And the resulting state structure were arbitrary and unsuitable for West government structure and judicial systems. And the judicial were often fused with the executive branch and were denied legitimate power. Today, judicial systems in Congo and is still intimately linked to the executive, and this negate the ability to serve as a check on executive power. It is a shame for me. It is a shame for me to see as Congolese people, we are living in our country as a stranger, because our political leaders they are not able to manage the climate of peace and economic development in the country. But right now, I'm happy because our new president Tshisekedi right now is fighting every time to and do his best and to help the Congolese people to overcome the challenge that we have stay for many times. But I think among the money factors that we have that determinate in our country, and I think it is for me very very important right now to change the way that we have seen the thing before, and now to focus our interest in the DRAP vision and development in our countries.
Okay.
And me personally, as an entrepreneur, I see now in our country we have a responsibility to change the challenge in opportunity. Because if we stay to cry every time because our leaders, they are not able to change the life or to offer us the possibility to have to have a possibility to live and excuse me, to live and to change and to be as a development country in
okay.
in the world.
Yeah.
I think that will be an important
point. Okay.
Thing. I think maybe you can hear me, but excuse me, I'm just trying to explain this because I'm not what can I say? I'm not
you want an Anglophone speaking person? Is that?
I'm not free to speaking to speak about the politics term.
Okay,
the politics term.
That's fine. Okay, don't worry about it. I think we just wanted to have an idea of what is going on in Congo Kinshasa, and you've done a great job by giving us a brief understanding or an overview of what the situation is. Senna, explain to us a little bit the political structure of Ethiopia, right? Whether it's controlled by, whether it's being run by monarch or a democratic system, that type of thing. And then we've seen a lot of comments about Abiy Ahmed. Who is this person and why are people commenting so much about him? If you can help us understand what's going on with that.
Senna, I think I can do that. So, Ethiopia is, I think a lot of people, when they think of Ethiopia, they know of Haile Selassie, who think, a king, a monarch, and after that, we have a dictator for 17 years. And following the Cold War in 1980s, and then by 1991, we have a new system, what's called federalism, nations and nationality, where Ethiopia is, there is a border between, ethnic line. The Oromos have a regional government, Oromia, the Amhara, the Sidama. So kind of among I would say about the top 4 or 5 ethnic group, which are the largest and account to 85 plus number of representation, have this regional. And the government in 1991 was formed coalition of 4 ethnic, the Oromos, the Amharas, the Tigrays, and the nations and nationality, which are like smaller in number. The Oromos, the Amhara, the Tigrays, they make combination of like 80% of, I believe roughly about 80% or more of the Ethiopian. Okay. So in 1991, we got that. 1995, we have the current Ethiopian constitution that gives the right to up to self-determination. And these regions have up to right self-determination. In 2000, so this regime between 1991 all the way to 2018, it was, even though the coalition, the powers was in the hands of what they call right now as a TPLF, the Tigray People Liberation Front, and they, you know, abused the power for 20 plus years. They have committed heinous crime. They've killed, you know, many people, millions of people was a refugee, and that's myself how I came to this country. So they did a lot of bad things. We protested against it, as you know yourself, and finally we had a change in 2018 where the current prime minister came to power. Keep in mind, Abiy Ahmed, it came from Oromo ethnic, from half Oromo and half Amhara. His mom is Amhara, and there is, you know, that's you see, even Oromo, that's irrelevant, but half Oromo and half Amhara.
So,
he came.
Before you continue, Oromo and Amhara are the major ethnic groups in Ethiopia.
Right. So they make about over 70% of the population combined together.
But Oromo on its own is about
50, about roughly 50. I mean, some put about 45%, about 50 million of, like roughly by half of the population.
Half of the population of Ethiopia. What's the total number? What's the population of Ethiopia?
I think about 112 million. That's 112 million. Yeah.
112 million people. Almost half of that are Oromians.
Yes, Oromians. Actually, if you called it Oromian, they're more than half. I'm talking about Oromos by itself is roughly about 50 plus million. And then you have about 5 to 7 million non-Oromos living in Oromia. So you're going to have more than, you know, yeah. So, okay. Continue?
Continue. Yeah.
So basically, Abiy came to power as a prime minister after the Oromo protests for years against the TPLF. But Abiy was in a system for 27 years. He was in the military committing the same heinous crime the TPLF did. In fact, Oromo are the main perpetrator of the killing that happened to Oromos. Oromos were pushed to exile, killed, executed. Everything happened to them because of the people like Abiy. But Abiy came to the U.S. and a lot of places. They said, forgive us, give us a chance to make it right. So myself and millions of Oromo people, we gave him a chance. You know, we gave him a chance in April 2nd and onward. But by December 2018, literally about 8 months after he became prime minister, he started targeting the Oromos. He put part of the country under a state of emergency. He have killed thousands of Oromos. Since he came to power, nearly 2+ million people have been displaced. The whole country is just unraveling. But what happened? Here's the fight, Sena. The fight is between unionists or central government, what Abiy is trying to do. Abiy is trying to take the power and make it himself. He, dismantled the old ethnic federalism system, like the four-party. He dismantled and he created a one party called a PP, Prosperity Party, and he's in charge. And he pretty much wants to control and centralize the power to himself. But that did not sit well with the TPLF, who are like the dads of the masters, the masters of Abiy for 27 years. Right. And he seemed to have a personal grudge against the TPLF, so he wanted to go after us to whatever they did to him. But he used to work for them. These are his bosses for 27 years, but now he's attacking. And unfortunately, the Tigray people are paying the heavy price, and that's what you hear on CNN and on every major media is right now the war between Abiy and the TPLF.
So Abiy is, like you said, is half Oromo and if I say Oromia, is it correct?
Oromo, half Oromo. Oromia is the country or the region, so the region. Oromo is half Amhara.
Yeah. So he's half Oromo and half Amhara. Okay. Now, so why is he doing this to his own people? Now, if I heard you correctly, if I understood you correctly, you said that prior to his becoming the prime minister or coming to power, he was part of a regime or a system that were oppressing the Oromos for a long time.
Yep.
And then he came to the U.S. and after a while, he asked the people of Oromo to give him a chance to make things up, and then he gets the power, and he's continuing to oppress the people of Oromo. What does he have against the Oromo people?
I think, to be quite honest, his issue is not particularly against Oromo. I think his issue is he is one of those foster boys who see a nationalism, who see an identity as a problem. So remember I mentioned to you before 1991, the country was led by a dictator, and there was the Oromo Liberation Front, there was Eritrean People Liberation Front, the Tigray People Liberation Front. These people came and took over power in 1991, and they created a federalism based on nations and nationality, where the Oromos have their own region, which is something that was very welcome and very popular among Ethiopians, with except minority, small number minority who feel like the elites, because they used to have a power, and the power used to be at the center only, and the people, were not able to, like people like me, the Oromos, we were not able to go to school in our language. School was permitted after change came to Ethiopia in 1991, where people were able to go in their own mother tongue to schools, not just in Oromia, in Somalia region, in the Tigray region, in Sidama region, people were able to learn in their native language, and people were able to practice their culture, practice their religion. Before 1991, it wasn't. So Ethiopia is an illusion in a country that is created as as an empire that is forced upon, where the rest of Africa is kind of their celebration. There's a colonization of whites in Africa. So when the whites left Africa in 1960s, the Ghanaians, the Kenyans, and the Somalians, they all kind of got liberated, and they have their own ethnic, and one way or the other, there is an issue, of course, because this border is drawn by non-Africans, as you can see.
Right.
Right. So Abiy problem is, from the way I'm thinking, is he's a power hungry. He wants to control power solely him. So he have to dismantle the existing federalism that kind of give the local people some kind of a say in authority in the system, in the government. For the Oromos, it's about identity, it's about respect, it's about dignity to be in Oromo in Ethiopia, to speak my language, to practice my culture. And that is something that we didn't have before 1991. And he wants to take the country back to pre-1991, where there is only one language, one culture, and even maybe one faith. Right? He's very into that. His faith part of the state. His faith, Protestantism is like part of the system that he's running right now.
So what religion? What would you say is the major religion that the Oromos practice?
So I would say the Oromos are about 50-50 between a Muslim and Christian, or maybe like about 40. I would say, let's say about 48 Christian, and then about 50 Muslim, and about 2% Wak Ifata, which is traditional faith. Okay,
just similar to Ghana, 50-50. Ghana is about 60-ish. Okay, but so yeah, so good. And then he's a Protestant. You said,
yeah.
Abiy. Okay, wow. That. Go ahead. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, no. I wanted to add, Senna, right here is, so what Abiy have done is he came to power after he made sure he got the power, he consolidated the power, and the people who brought him to this place, especially the former Oromia president, and which we are, a lot of people are unhappy with him because Abiy is not known to anybody. He never spoke for Oromo people. He's never done anything. He's in the military. He's in the national security. He's in a different department. He's not a known person. But this Oromia president is who introduced Abiy to Oromo people, and he said that if you trust me, you have to trust him. We trusted him because of him, and right. He himself was removed from power by Abiy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and then people like Jawar Mohammed, that people who change, who mobilize millions of people, millions of young people. Africa is, as you know, 70% are young people under the age of 30. And a lot of those youths are right now, they are either dead or in prison, or maybe they are in exile, like in different countries. When you are in Ethiopia, because of the U.S. relationship, because of the West relationship, because of this infatuation of Ethiopia with West, so Ethiopia can get away with a lot of human rights violation. And what's happening to Oromos? As Oromo, you can't even go to Kenya and be safe. You can't even go to Somalia. You can be safe, or Eritrea. I mean, there is so much on what's happening. And
why can't you go to these areas and be safe?
I'm telling you, because I myself was in a neighbor country. It's like the Ethiopia can come and get you from any of those countries. So they can go. If you are in Kenya, they can come and just grab you. And they have done that. They have done an older person, an institution in his 70s. They came and grabbed him from Kenya.
So you're saying Oromos are fleeing from Ethiopia because of Abiy?
Of course, yes, in thousands. But the challenge is this, Sena, because Abiy claimed to be Oromo, and even when we talk to different people, they're like, but he's Oromo. Why? Like, why don't you give him a chance? But exactly. He's an Oromo who is part of the system for 37 years and who is committing heinous crime. Amnesty International have put out a statement about extrajudicial killing, saying that this guy have shot people in a meeting. There was a meeting, and because his cell phone rang, they shot a person. And this is an Amnesty International report. And
they shot him?
They shot the guy simply because in the middle of the meeting, his phone rang.
Wait, and this person was an Amnesty reporter, you said?
No, it was reported on Amnesty International. He was not reported, but it was reported on Amnesty International report.
So in a meeting that Abiy set up, one of his, I would say his workers or his government officials, phone rang.
Mm-hmm.
And he shot it himself, or a security guard shot it?
It's what they do to this amazing and unbelievable, Sena, is that, so it was a meeting by security force, and his phone rang in the middle of it, and the security guard just, bam, shot him point blank in front of people. And that's just, they have taken, Sena, they have taken prisoners from prison and shot them, killed. They're taking people from home and throw the body, and then 2-3 days, the scavenger, animals be eating them. That's just been some of, human rights is what we do in Ethiopia. We cover a lot of that. The stories we write about is just gut-wrenching. And the sad thing is AU is still in Africa, in the middle of Ethiopia, and they say nothing about what's going on on Tigray right now. Abiy has done that for a year and a half on Oromos. Nobody spoke about it. After he finished Oromo to a certain degree, he went over and started on Tigray. And now everybody's kind of listening and paying attention, because before it was Oromo, this guy, and he had this coverage about being a Nobel Peace Prize winner, right. And that kind of gave him, a chance to kind of hide. But now that is all gone. He's killing people cold-bloodedly, his security, and he did not only commit killing by his security force, he did a treason by working with another country to kill his own people. He worked with the Eritrean government, in thousands of Eritrean security force or military was in Ethiopia just killing people.
Abiy, when we come back to you, I want to go to I'm trying to, make sure, excuse me. When we come back, I want us to come back to Abiy, and so you can help us understand why. I think you mentioned it, but I still wanted to get it, why he is focusing more on, because there is the Amara and the Tigray people, right? So why is he now doing most of his atrocities and his tyranny activities in these ethnic groups in Ethiopia, but more of the Oromos, and he's chasing them everywhere? So it doesn't matter where you run to, he can come and grab you. So that disdain looks like, from what you're saying, for the people of Oromo is what maybe I would like you to hammer on, right? You said it, but I want you to drive that home, right? Thank you again for giving us a very deep insight to what is going on in Ethiopia when it comes to politics. The leader, Abiy, president, is it Prime Minister Abiy or Prime Minister Abiy? Let's take a few. John, I'll come to you in a second, but I want to respond to, I want us to listen, take note of our audience and some of their comments that's coming through. I'll open the phone lines after 7 p.m. So, you can all express your views on some of the things we are talking about. Dada Negasa says, you guys were legal immigrants, USA, president, systemic racism, discrimination. I am cross-board, 1989 based, Marxist, Leninist, ideology, communist, documentary, international competitiveness, system racism, pledge addiction. Oh my God, this guy's writing. And abuse by African diaspora and Black American forced me. She keeps, she works for Congress. Stop classify systemic racism where I come from. I come from Kenya, refugee camp. I'm victim. Wow, neighborhood. Okay, so it doesn't make sense. But Senna, do you think you can make sense from what it's saying? You want to respond to? Okay, if you can see, let's go to other comment. If you can see, because I'm trying to see if I can make sense from Gada. I'm trying to make if you can help clarify your point.
Yeah, well, I think, yes, I was just going to say, I think if it's a very long text, and he was, in a refugee camp in Kenya, as I mentioned. The system before, federalism, there was a Marxist, Leninist system, and it's a racist country. Ethiopia is a very racist country, which used to think they are superior. They're not. Some of them are not. They don't consider black. You've seen the video that I shared with you. That guy is an ambassador right now who said that 60 years ago. It's a pretty racist country that and not discriminate against only other Africans, but also, within even their own other ethnic group. And it's a very complex situation. I know you want to go to John, so I can come back and talk later.
Yeah. Wow. I'm astonished. We have Simala Mariso. Let me see if I can get, so I'm not getting feedback. So we have Simara Bariso, Simali Bariso. Thank you for joining the convo. Ethiopian government is a dictator. Basically, Ethiopian government is a terrorist. Wow, Ethiopian government is a killer. Okay, wow, okay. Bashir said, welcome, Oromiti Sena Jim Jimo. So for those of you watching, so that you don't get confused, we're both Sena. Okay, I'm the host, Sena, and my guest is also Sena. We all Africans. Okay, she just comes from a different region in Africa, which is Oromo in Ethiopia, and I come from the Volta region in Ghana. Okay, which is West Africa. But so yeah, you can call me Alinco. Alinco is my host name, so don't so that you don't get confused. So for today, let's go. So that you don't get confused. So, but yeah, so just wanted to get that clarified, because somebody said, hello, Sena, and I'm not sure if it's me or my guest. So just wanted to get that out there. Okay. So Saeed Umer says, Abi, hashtag Abi is a killer, free Jawar Mohammed. Sena, please help us understand when we come back who Jawar Mohammed is. And then Mikia Olu is here with us. Shukiriwa Ahmed says, I think he said something in Ethiopian language. Ojuli Ian Rafitani. Okay, Abi must go from Mikia Olu. Let's try and see if we can get other ones. We got, okay, Amina Dalu. Abi is a detector. And then we have Free Oromo. The comments are a lot. Let me try and read this. Blifu Billy Suma, the most dangerous man on earth, even more than COVID-19. The Nobel Prize winner Abiy Ahmed killed more than 200 Oromos in one day. Abiy must go. Hashtag Abiy Oromo protest. Hashtag free Hamza Barona. Hashtag free Biko Bakele Jeber. And then free Jawar Mohammed, free, wow, this is and free political prisoners. Wow. Okay. So I don't think I'll be able to take all the, okay, let me see here. We have Richla also says, hello, Sena. Okay. That was one I was talking about. So Richla, thank you so much for your comment. Thank you. Hello to you as well. Dim Vim Vota says the same thing happening in Ghana too. Well, I'm a Ghanaian and I don't know if people are being killed like this in Ghana. So my brother, if you have some other, if you can verify, if you can give us some, a little bit of verification to what you're saying, that'll help. Again, I'm from Ghana, and I don't know of a lot of Ghanaians being chased out of Ghana and having to be refugees in other countries. So that's what I'll say to that comment. But you can come up if you want to respond to what I just said. Recalling all Ethiopian nations and federalist groups to stand together, to fight back, to create new federal system that can protect all Ethiopian and Ethiopian nations' identity, because the old federal system doesn't balance between parties. This is from Abdi Bilisa Haji. And I'll take the last comment, even though there are tons of them. Semitic people is in Ethiopia. They are not okay. I think historians say they don't believe they are black. Only the Kushnik and other are black people. We believe that's the way. Okay, that is from Ash Hernafi Golja Dukale. All right. On that, let me take my brother John. John, give us how long. We know that the Francophone basically are the majority ethnic group when it comes to the demographics of Cameroon, right? The Francophones are in power now. Paul Biya, he is a Francophone. And I know that there has been, at least we know that there has been a lot of oppression on the south of Cameroonians, and which has resulted in so many of them being exiled in other African countries. Now, can you tell us the international bodies intervening in this matter? Are the international bodies intervening? Is the AU active in trying to curb the situation? What is currently going on when it comes to mitigating what we have all known as being the oppression of the southern Cameroonians for so long?
Unfortunately, the AU is remain very eloquent in their silence, but we have to understand that the AU is just a group of the same friends who would rather not hurt each other. So that's kind of what is going on. And on the other side of it, we see France as one of the pilots of the AU. And what that means is that France basically sponsors the AU. And France has interest in Cameroon that cannot be touched. And so the AU members are very, very careful in even talking about this crisis. So far, I have not, except for the late former President Jerry Rawlings in Ghana, who talked a lot about this crisis and pointed finger directly at France for being the main power behind all of this mess in Cameroon. I have not heard any other African president actually come out with a statement condemning what is going on in Cameroon. Yet they continue to receive the refugees or Cameroonians, southern Cameroonians, into their countries and as refugees. The unfortunate thing, like Senna said, when she was talking about the possibility of a government going into another country and picking up people who are just running for their life, bringing them back into the country and either just throwing them in jail and giving them life imprisonment or just killing them is true in the situation in Cameroon. I made mention last time in this show about the revolutionary leaders who were in Nigeria, Siseko Ayok Tabe Julius, who is the president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, which is a new state that the separatist movement are creating or are trying to restore. They were in Nigeria. They had a meeting that was focused on raising funds to see ways they can accommodate the refugees or Cameroonians who finally took refuge in Nigeria. Things like food, shelter, and medications. Somehow they were arrested by the Nigerian police or security and handed over to Cameroon, despite calls to the United Nations High Commission for Refugee to intervene so that they would not be taken to Cameroon. So all those calls, the Buhari's government said, well, they would not be taken. They were just arrested for interrogation. But a couple of days or week later, we realized they were already in Cameroon. So that is, it kind of gives you a little of perspective on how the international community play with this type of stuff. So many calls to the United Nations, but the United Nations would say, well, it begins with the African Union. African Union do something. The African Union chairperson, Mr. Mohamed, I forgot the other name, has been in Cameroon 2 times. But one time he made a statement reaffirming support to maintain peace and security and one Cameroon. So it didn't address the concerns and the issues. It actually left people thinking, are you taking side with the government or what are you actually doing? Complain to say what you have discussed with Mr. Biya to put this whole problem to the end. So if I have a little bit of time here, I will give a little bit of recap on how we got here. I think that will give us a little bit of understanding on.
Okay, that would. Were you trying to talk about the president of AU, President Abdel Fattah? Abdel Fattah. Is that who you?
Yes, thanks for that correction.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to throw a little bit of light. I wouldn't take so much of time here, but right in the 60s, when the French Cameroon got their independence and Nigeria got their independence, at that time, the English part of Cameroon, called West Cameroon, which today is called Ambazonia, was administered together with Nigeria because it wasn't a lot of people at the time. But at one point, sometime in the mid-50s, they decided to break away from Nigeria, that they wanted to have their own government, and they did have their own government. And it was a very, very peaceful transition. So when they came back to administer themselves, they were called West Cameroon. But when in the 60s, this independence was granted to the French Cameroon and the British granted independence to Nigeria, that little portion of Cameroon was left. So Britain never wanted to leave without ensuring that there is some kind of either a governance going on with this part of Cameroon. So they gave this English-speaking part of Cameroon just two questions. Are you going to join Nigeria or are you going to join Cameroon, which is the French Cameroon? So by all manipulations, the vote went in favor of joining French Cameroon. And then they decided to say, okay, since French Cameroon was administered by the French and then English Cameroon was administered by the English with different judicial system, different cultural system, different educational system, different legal system. So they decided to come into what became a federation where all of these orientations will keep their cultures and their inheritance from their colonial powers.
Right.
But very short after that, the president, who at the time was a Francophone president, Madu Ayijo, decided to abolish the federation. And so it was an intention to assimilate the English part of Cameroon systematically. So the federation was abolished and every structure in the Anglophone Cameroon was attacked in a way that it was supposed to be eradicated almost immediately. The marketing board that granted a lot of contract for the development was abolished. It was transferred to French Cameroon. The public works ministry was transferred. Everything was transferred, including the electricity. They had this dam that provided electricity in this part of Cameroon. It was destroyed. And then electricity, we started having light from French Cameroon. So all of this thing was to cut the English-speaking Cameroon off anything that could make them stand strong so that the English-speaking part of Cameroon would continue depending only on the other side. And that is oppression right there. So the struggle for the restoration of the English West Cameroon didn't start today. It started in the 60s. So the very people or representatives of the English Cameroon who went into this union with French Cameroon went to the United Nations to complain, to say, well, Britain, this is what happened and this is what is going on. And guess what? Behind it was France. So France had discovered that there was oil in the English-speaking part of Cameroon around the Bakassi area, Nigeria. So France wanted that oil by all costs. So France is a member of the Security Council in the United Nations. So if there is any decision that even was supposed to go in favor for the West Cameroon, it was attacked by France. And when it is vetoed, it's vetoed. There was nothing that was done. So this struggle continued diplomatically. So many Southern Cameroonians, Mula Litumbe, who just died not long ago. We have one, Gojin Jinka, who's a lawyer, barrister of law, in exile now in London, with a group of so many continue to go back and forth the United Nations, trying to sue Cameroon. It didn't yield any fruit. But now let's fast forward. After Ayijo left office, it was actually a political coup. It was nothing that, it was military, but, it was more political. So President Paul Biya, who is the current president, who's been there for about 85 years now, came to power. He's about 85 years old, and he's been a president for over 35 years.
Okay.
So he came to power and then went into, they already separated or abolished federalism and still changed the name of the country. Because when the federal system was abolished, the country became the United Republic of Cameroon. So there was some kind of evidence to say that these are two different people who came together. So President Paul Biya decided to also crush out that name, and it became the Republic of Cameroon as it was in 1960 when they gained their independence. So there has been so much of marginalization of the English-speaking part of Cameroon in the government, in everything, any protest, any riot or anything, that is supposed to call for some kind of equality was completely crushed. And so that is how the lawyers and the teachers rose up to say, well, the legal system that we inherited is at stake. We want either a harmonized system, or we do not want English and French-speaking magistrate to decide cases within illegal or within the common law system, which is the Anglophone area.
Wow. What is the current population of Cameroon?
It should be about 20 million or a little over 20 million.
Okay, and you say maybe 70% is made up of the Francophone speaking?
80%.
80. Wow. So for the past 35 years, Paul Biya has been the president.
Absolutely. He has been the president for the past 35 years.
And it's supposed to be a democratic system that the Cameroonians are practicing, right? That Cameroon is practicing. He is
actually supposed to be the master of democracy. It says that he brought democracy in the country.
And every 4 years, elections are held.
Well, right now, Cameroonians, not even the Francophone Cameroonians, actually understand what is in the constitution because it is changed almost every day at will. There is basically no kind of consultations or elections into what is changed or what should not be changed.
Right.
So one point is 5 years, around point is 7 years, and we believe now is life for life.
So the President Paul Biya changes the constitution at will, and so of course he can keep being president. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, yes.
But have you had elections though? How many elections can you recount that you've had so far? Let's say in the past 10 years, maybe.
I think about 2.
Okay, just 2. So when let's say if he changes it and it's 5 years, he says, okay, let there be election this time, and 5 year comes, elections are held though. That's what you're saying. You do hold the elections are held, but regardless of what happens, he wins. Is that what you're saying?
Of course, we know the results of elections before the election is announced.
Okay, do you think that because the majority of the population are Francophone and he is Francophone, so they do the default thing by voting for him because he belongs to their kind of like ethnic or creed or something like that?
It used to be, but the dynamics kind of changed when all Cameroonians, including the Francophone Cameroonians, got tired of the system that didn't permit the young people to come to power, not even going for the presidency. But if you go into our Senate, you see majority of them cannot even stand. As soon as they sit, they're sleeping.
Oh, because most of them are like being there for ages.
A lot of them are in their late 80s and late 70s. And so it is not a system that allow for the younger generation to step up.
Wow.
So the country has been mortgaged by these very old people, and they're just old friends. They move from one ministry to the other. They appoint you in this ministry this time, and then a couple of months, a year later, you go to another one. So they just kind of reshuffle the same people in this different positions.
Wow. Unfortunately, I think we're losing our brother from Congo. We'll try and see if we can get him due to the internet. His reporting from Kinshasa, Congo, and we're having a little bit of technical issues with the internet. Hopefully we can get him back on. But this is tough to listen to. All these things going on in Africa. the cradle of civilization, we call it, the mother of all nature, the mother of everything, you know, how we all love and speak fondly of Africa, the land of abundant resources, great people, great environment, great agriculture. But you hear these stories day in and day out. Sometimes we don't hear them in depth like this. So we are glad that we can hear some of these things. As heavy as they sound, still hope. And so we know that as we keep talking, change will come, because everything that has changed, every society that has changed or that had to change was as a result of regular people talking. And so I believe that we're doing the right thing. Senna, I wanted you to, I think I forgot the question that I asked you before we went to John. Well, there was a lot. I was just taking in a lot. I lost my chain of thought. But if you remember the question I wanted to ask you, Senna, please help us elaborate on that. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I think I do a little bit remember, and I do also want to elaborate who Jawar Muhammad is. I think your question was more of like, but why is Abiy going after Oromos where he couldn't go after the Amharas and the Tigrays or the others? You know, why is him? So, you know, I think my brother here, John, say things about Africa. Unfortunately, is that our issue is almost, we are divided by borders and by languages, by oppressors, but our experience is almost the same. And the reason being is the resource. Oromia is the heart of Ethiopia. You have no Oromia, you have no Ethiopia. You have no gold, you have no gas, you have no the country's food, you know, and you have no coffee. The country's resource comes from this region. So for them, the only way Abiy can control Ethiopia is everybody, whether it's a TPLF or the Amhara or the other, any system. To control Ethiopia, you first have to break the Oromos. That's why generation after generation, leaders after leaders is always going for Oromo, because Oromo is the largest and they hold the resource, the key. The key to Ethiopian heart is, you sit in Oromia city, you know what I'm saying? Addis is in the heart of Oromia, you know, literally in the middle of Oromia. It's not any other places. So
Addis Ababa, the capital, is in the heart of Oromia.
Exactly. And the Ethiopian constitution clearly says so too, because they say in the constitution, Addis Ababa, because it belongs to Oromos, Oromia should have special benefit from Addis Ababa, because even though Addis Ababa sits in the center of Oromia, and the people pushed out from that land to make space for everybody else, those people who are pushed from the land right now, they are gatekeeper, housekeeper, refugees in every countries. These people are destitute because of the expansion of master plan through different system, through development, whatever so you call it. These people have been marginalized. Today they are the poorest among Oromos. They are one of the poorest, and then so sadly, you know, even though the constitution recognizes, but it never, even during the TPLF regime in 27 years, they say that a lot of things in the constitution, the benefits of the capital city, which sits in Oromia, Oromia shall benefit from that, but Oromia never benefited. In fact, the Oromos have always paid the blood to keep Ethiopia as it is. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, that, you know, you have few people who, for whatever reason, you know, for food or for whatever, have been sold in this, you know, illusion of this, you know, one Ethiopia that does not recognize Oromos, Sidamas, and Tigrays, and all other nationality. I mean, to be honest with you, we are content being Oromo. We are content staying on our own region. And we don't really understand why any other culture have to be imposed on us. So the fight is between federalism versus unitary system. And this unitary system is the one Abiy is pushing for. And the reason he targets Oromo is to control Ethiopia, to control he have to control the resource. And to control the resource, he have to remove and get rid of it and break the Oromos first. And that's why he started off. And he started off by breaking, and he causes to the Naftanyas. And Naftanyas is the elites, you know, for us, it's a system. It's not just for us. Naftanya means it's a two word, a person with a gun. Naftanya means it's a person with a gun. It's a person with the gun right now, controlling the country, oppressing the people, and making people submit or submissive to the system that they are trying to bring in, which is the unitary system. We don't want the unitary system. That system have failed already in 1980s. We like federalism. We love all Ethiopian people. We want to live together. However, we don't want to be marginalized. We don't want to be a second-class citizen in that country. We don't want to feel like we're inferior to a certain group. We want to speak our language. So it comes down to resource control, the reason why he oppressed. But let me add for you about Jawar Mohammed. So because a lot of people were saying Jawar Mohammed, free Jawar Mohammed. Jawar Mohammed is a friend of mine. Know him for over 15 years. He's an American citizen. His dad is a Muslim, just like the prime minister. His mom is Orthodox, and his wife is Protestant, I believe. And but because his last name is Muhammad, it's easier to paint him as he's radical, even though the guy is 75% surrounded by non-Muslim, and he is by no means a radical, because I grew up with him. He's an American citizen who was the spearhead change that brought Abiy to the position, and his wife is Protestant. Exactly, his wife's Protestant. His mom is Orthodox. It's funny. Nevertheless, he get accused of being radical Muslim, by certain people. But here's the funny thing, guys. The funny thing is that Abiy used to work for TPLF as a vice boy in a different level. He worked his way to a certain degree. Nobody knew him until 2.5 years ago.
TPLF. What is TPLF?
So TPLF is the Tigray People Liberation Front.
Okay.
And they are the one that was in power for 27 years, from 1991 to 2018. They were in power, and they created OPIDIO. OPIDIO means the Oromo People Democratic Organization. That's what OPIDIO means, the short. It's like, so there's Oromo, there's Amhara, there's a Tigray, there's Somali. Every ethnic have their own party, their own government system. They have their own region. They have their own language. These are very unique culture, unique people, unique, that thing that make them a nation. They have all of that. Okay. So Jawar Mohammed, I'll quickly finish for you, is that an American citizen who spearheaded the change that liberated Abiy. Because Abiy was being as a best boy for TPLF. TPLF was in control for 27 years, oppressing a lot of people. And Abiy was in that system. He freed Abiy, and Abiy became a prime minister. He met with Jawar. But today, Jawar is in prison at the mercy of Abiy. His life is in danger. He cannot see doctors, and his crime is basically being a popular. But right now they are charging him. 3 months after they arrested him, they brought charge against him for being terrorist. And what is he? Why is he being terrorist? We honestly don't know, because this guy, there's nothing about him that have, besides being Oromo and being speaking for Oromo people, for marginalized Ethiopians, not just Oromo, he spoke for marginalized people. That is his crime. But his main crime, the way I see, is he's a threat to his power. He's extremely too popular. He's too clever. He's a political genius. You know what I'm saying? The guy's very young. He grew up in West, he's highly educated, but he's a very threat to him, so he have to remove him. And after he put him in jail for 3 months, they came up with the terrorism charge, and that is who they're talking about. Jawar Mohammed is he have 1.5 million followers on Facebook. He's extremely powerful young man.
Okay. Now, there was one musician that was murdered maybe sometime this year. I would like you to tell us about that after we go to my brother from Congo. Brother Rigobert, can you hear us?
Yes, Brother Sena.
Okay, so I know we've been struggling with the internet, but good to have you back. And we have been listening to what has been going on in Ethiopia and Cameroon. Ethiopia, of course, in East Africa, Cameroon in West Africa. Okay, good. Looks like we have you now. Okay. Also, earlier in the show, you tried to make us understand the oppression that the people of Congo are going through right now. Can you help us understand the distribution of the natural resources of Congo and which particular region these resources are concentrated at? I know you are in Kinshasa, so most of the resources...
Okay, can you repeat your question, please?
Can you help us understand the major, let me put it this way, the major resources of Congo?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello?
Okay, so it is a little struggle. Yes, I can hear you, but it's like,
can you repeat your question, please?
My question is, can you help?
I have a trouble with my connection. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I send you a message in your WhatsApp. Can you check it, please?
I checked it, please. I have checked it. I have checked it, and we understand that you have issues with the internet, and so we're trying to see how we can work it out. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you help us?
What was your question? Okay.
My question is, can you tell us the major resources of Congo and which parts of Congo are these resources, these resources located at? Is that in Kinshasa or which other region? Because when you hear of Congo, the only thing that comes to mind is Kinshasa, which is the capital. So can you help us understand the major resources of Congo and where they are located in this country, and how and if the indigents of Congo benefits from these resources? The people of Congo, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. The major resource of Congo is located at Katanga province and at the east of the country. But if right now at the east of country, the zone where the resource is located is the zone that we are find many conflicts with the terrorism and many of excuse me. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So that's fine. We don't have to see your face. If it works without the camera, it's just go ahead and give us give us the report. Yes, don't worry about it.
Okay. I will saying this. The resource of our country is located at Lubumbashi, and other is located at the east of country. In province as Goma, North Kivu, Ituri, and Bunia. And Bunia is right now the conflict region because of natural resource that we have. And it is a shame. It is a shame to see some of Congolese people. They are living as a refugee in.
There has been a struggle this evening with our brother from Kinshasa. Network issues. We apologize, listeners. Let's take a short break. We've been downloading a lot of information. I wouldn't say not too uplifting, but good to know. Good for the world to know, so we can pay attention to what is relevant, and also keep hopes up and keep praying. We'll take this short break. When we come back, the show continues. You're watching the Progressive Mind Show with your host, Alinco, and my guests are here. We shall be right back.
Freedom is coming tomorrow. Get ready, mama, prepare for your freedom. Freedom is coming tomorrow. Get ready, mama, prepare for your freedom. Freedom is coming tomorrow. Yeah, we will listen to mama. Yeah, we will listen to mama. Yeah, we will listen to mama.
Well, welcome back to the show. This is Progressive Minds, and my name is Alinco. We're talking about updates from Africa, the oppression of the people, and it's sad when you hear some of this. But look, it hits you, you're down. But for me personally, what it does is it just gives me more hope. You know, when I hear it, the more I hear some of this negative stuff, the stronger I become eternally, because I know that things will change. Because sometimes it has to get very bad for a big turnaround, for a big change to happen. And sometimes we are not encouraging, and we hope that it doesn't continue this way. But again, change, I believe, sometimes, majority of the times, comes from the ground. And as long as we keep talking about it and keep the pressure and use social media to spread the word, I know that change will come to the benefit of the people of Africa. Africa will get better. So, Senna, thanks for hanging out with us. Still, John is still here. I know we have a ton of comments. There are folks watching us. My own brother, Sahid, I didn't know. So thanks for shooting me that message on WhatsApp. I know you're watching us. Thank you. Brother Ate, Pastor Akron, and you are also watching us. That's another good brother of mine. I have so many brothers. I'm blessed. And I have so many sisters. They are beautiful too. You know, one is Senna, you know, so you can see her. You know, she's gorgeous. Brother John, you know, great guy as well. And Lara, Udu. I think I'm getting feedback. Let's see why. And Lara says, "You go, John." And let me see if we can read this comment. The biggest difference between Amara and Oromo nations is, one, Amara is a monarchy, and in history they never believe humans equality. Two, Oromo nations, they do believe humans equality. Gada systems term is limited. All leaders stay away. Power for 8 years. Okay, I'm trying. Okay, so thank you, Abdibilisa Haji, for bringing your comment. We have Algan Alaguma also also commenting and joining us. Thank you so much for your time and for being part of the show. Ahmed Bilal says, Abi must go. The phone line, if you want to ring and comment or ask a question, is 773. It's 815-277-5047. 815-277-5047. And I want to remind the listeners that we need your support. And so your contributions to this show go a long way in helping us develop more programs like this and also enhancing our equipment. So please help us by going on our website, theprogressivemindshow.com, and make your contribution to us. You can also Cash App us at $Senna Alinco. Send us Cash App of any amount. It will go a long way. We appreciate your support. Last comment. No, maybe I'll take two more comments. Neftanya, Khadija Fatu says, Neftanya is gun rulers. Right. Thank you. Thank you for keeping your comments coming. I wanted to take this one. It says, Oromo, the heart of Ethiopian. What happened? Oromo, the heart of Ethiopian and East Africa, Kenya, Somalia, Sudan, Djibouti. Okay. And then Ate Akron says, how can one man be president through election for 35 years? This right here is why military overthrow is sometimes necessary. Just sad. You know what? Yes, of course, Senna. This is from Shaggy Hebo. I think that what's your response to what my brother just said? Military takeover. What I want you all to respond to that, because sometimes it becomes necessary. Let me take this one from and then I'll have you guys respond to. Gada Negasa says, the President Donald Trump based as African diaspora of white supremacists while discussing racism in the USA should be dealing with the racism that is our country, to which local government who on the Senate Judiciary Committee. It's not really making sense. So I wish I can read everything, but I'm not really getting it. So let's see if we can take another comment that I can read through. Let's see here. Okay, we have that already. Sorry, I have to host and do all this myself. So it's, it's a one-man show. So just bear with me. Mustafa Ali says, this kind of platform we have been waiting for. Progressive minds, progressive African minds. Keep it up, guys. Yes, Mustafa Ali. Yes, Progressive African Minds. Actually, that's a very good name, an alternative name for the show, right? Progressive African Minds. I like that. So now, and John, can you respond to what the brother said? Military takeover. Do we need that in African politics or in the African terrain? You think that sometimes it's very necessary for these type of things?
It's very interesting, Senna. I mean, honestly, like as a person who came, the thing about Ethiopia is, John maybe can also comment in here, is there is this infatuation of Ethiopia even by Africans. Because I grew up here in the West, and a lot of my brothers from other countries like Africa, Ethiopia is an uncolonized nation, but Ethiopia is so barbaric. What they have done and what they got away with it is unspeakable. Till today, what nation have Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch have put out countless reports of extrajudicial killing, rape of men, rape of children, taking a father from home and a prisoner from prison, shooting them and leaving their bodies for animals to eat it. And then, yes, still the West give billions of dollars to support and aid. Isn't Ethiopia a country that received one of the highest, if I'm not mistaken, the second highest aid from U.S., my beloved country where I'm from, is that still Ethiopia is one of the poorest nations. So what? Like AU sits in the hearts of Ethiopia and hearts of Oromia, and it says nothing for the last 1 year. And in fact, the last 5 years, over 10,000 people have died, and AU did not say nothing. So it's like, it's interesting that as an African system who grew up in diaspora, who have hungered for African nation, a democratic nation that values me as a woman. I'm a woman, I'm proud to be a woman. I'm lucky that I was born a woman. There's nothing wrong being a woman, but in Africa, it's still to the country don't respect women, don't recognize the value of women, the power of mother. Women it's like buy and sell commodity for sexual pleasure. AU sits in Ethiopia, and a lot of these leaders are kind of cover their eyes at the human rights crisis that's happening in front of their eyes. And yet they represent the African youth interest. Africa is a continent of over 70% young men or young women under the age of 30. Yeah. I'm the over age of 30. It's like, what kind of country or continent do we live in that don't value women and the future? You know what I'm saying? It just amazes me. And the question is like, what do we, should military take over? Yeah. What do you do when you have a country like Ethiopia that hosts AU, but that abuses AU when the West and the faraway countries come speak about the possible war crime? AU have remained silent, have done nothing. Yes, they're trying to, come in, I guess, in elder days early on, but, Prime Minister, like, go over there. Ethiopia, the elites of Ethiopia that control, that want to create the old Ethiopia back, those one Ethiopia without culture, without our diversity is what makes us beautiful. It's our ability to speak multiple languages, practice multiple beautiful culture. There's nothing wrong with my culture. I'm very proud of it. In fact, the more you're going to tell me don't practice my culture, the more I'm going to keep it close and dear to my heart. And I'm going to become stronger. When you have a nation under the age of 30 who makes up 70% of the population, I mean, the West can say anything, and AU, can just hold the seat, unfortunately, that I feel like a revolution is inevitable. Just like, I think it's Martin Luther King who said that those who made peaceful protest impossible would make resistance, violence inevitable. That when it comes to, African leaders, should the armies, should the generals take over? When it comes to Ethiopia, the generals and the prime ministers are one and the same. It is selected by him. So there is no independence. So it's complicated.
So there's no taking over because the army, the politicians, they're one of the same.
They are one and the same.
Oh my God. That's from Senna. Oh wow.